Hello and welcome to Moscato and Tea. This is the show for all things beauty, business, and community with your host Inez and Chiquita. Keeping it raw, real, and unfiltered.
Good morning.
Morning. What's up?
What's happening?
What's going on?
It's a good day today.
It is. Always.
We have such a special guest today.
I know. I'm excited. I'm
very
super excited.
honored to have this guest here today with us, Mr. D.Haynes The Author.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. How are you feeling?
I feel good.
You feeling good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Up early. Are you drunk? What's happening?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Okay,
we do have the bottle open. We're drinking a little Moscato.
As
and
always.
stuff. It was funny because the other day he asked me, because I told him, listen to the podcast
Right.
for our interview. And he asked me, because I told him about tea time.
Oh, yes.
And he asked me, where's the tea at? What's the tea? And I'm like,
It's
we
your
don't
tea.
actually drink tea.
It's yo tea that
Yo
we're getting.
tea. Exactly. We don't
We're
actually.
getting yo tea.
It's just the name Moscato and Tea. But the tea is actually finding out your gossip, your business.
Bringing the tea.
Bringing the tea.
Bringing it. Yes, whatever it is that you're about, bringing that tea to us.
Bringing it to the table. So
Love it.
we just wanted to, bring you onto the show. We're all about, support and inspiring and bringing new artists and indie artists out there. And, we're off the podcast. We're friends off the show and everything. And I was like, why don't you come on, promote the book and everything and see what can happen. And I'm truly, truly thankful and grateful that you came out. I think it's going to be really fun.
Yep. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
So my name is Dennis, also known as D.Haynes The Author. I just published my first book earlier this year.
Congratulations.
Woo,
Yay.
congrats.
Thank you. Published it April 1st. Title of it is Want to Hide Something from a Nigga? Put it in a book.
Ooh.
Okay. And that's a mic drop right there.
Right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, first, tell us about the name.
Gotcha. So the name is actually a saying that I heard growing up. It's actually something that I heard in the black community.
Mm-hmm.
So want to hide something from a nigga, put it in the book. It actually originated during slavery time when if they wanted to hide something, they literally could put it in a book. Africans did not speak English. They spoke multiple languages, just not English.
Mm-hmm.
But if they really wanted to hide something, they could really put it in a book. And then that phrase or that saying continued to, even till today, to now that blacks can read, now blacks just don't read.
True.
So
That's unfortunately.
Unfortunate. So for me, reading your book was very impactful. There's a lot,
Appreciate
very much so. Still always curious about history. I'm a first-generation American. My parents aren't from this country. They migrated, immigrated. So learning about history here has always been a fascination, and just very much so you can relate in however it is. So reading your book, there was a lot of things that you touched upon that I was just like, damn, this is so profound. We think about it, we talk about it, but we really don't address it the way, we really just don't address it. It's kind of like, if I don't talk about it, it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's one of
Which is
those
really
things,
sad.
which very much sad. So what inspired you to write this book?
It was a few things. So even growing up, I knew I wanted to write a book.
Mm-hmm.
I actually thought I was going to write it much later on in life, but I got the title, and I was talking with one of my cousins one day, and just like, oh, that would be a good title for a book.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, no, that actually is a really good title for a book. And I actually was able to then add the message of self-education throughout the entire book. And so once I was able to actually add that message and I had something I was actually passionate about, it wrote itself.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, you
wrote
can
itself.
tell the passion. You can tell everything that you're writing, especially right now and today and what's going on.
Yeah.
It really hit a lot of the, especially with history, we're really the most poignant thing I got from your book was we're still enslaved.
Yeah.
That was based, and we all know this, but I think
Yes.
we're in denial about this.
Yeah.
The enslavement just, from, schools to prison, like all of these things that people think that we're not, that doesn't go on. The racism now, instead of just the slave master and the slave, it's the police
Yes.
and the, and
The average black man.
and the
Yeah,
average black
exactly.
man,
Yeah.
at any point.
Yeah.
I mean, and now it's, now you're starting to see a little bit. It's always been there.
Yeah.
Just social
very
media
blatant.
has changed the game
Big
Completely.
time.
in a way that now it's very much more exposed than it was before. So my curiosity is I understand you writing the book, but what do you hope?
Yeah.
To get out of which I highly recommend reading this book.
Please.
Anybody and everybody should really read this book, especially if you are socially conscious and you're trying to change your own life and how you view things.
Change your mentality.
Yes, this book was this book is amazing.
I appreciate it. So my goal with writing this book or the purpose behind the book was actually to get that enlightening. I wanted to shed light on some of the things that we do kind of just glance over a lot of times, or we might get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, where this book kind of encompasses a lot of our history. It encompasses where we are in schools, where we are with business. It encompasses so many different aspects of the Black community and Black lives.
Right.
So my goal with the book was actually to shed light on that. And then also from then on, I wanted to actually get you to continue your own self-education. So I think it's very important to continue to read and actually whatever you're interested in. It doesn't even matter what you're interested in. Whatever your passion is, dive into it, read into it. I wanted you to pick this book up, and then I want this to spark something that continues that thirst for more reading and more knowledge.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I have a daughter, I have a nephew, I have a niece. I'm definitely going to be like, yo, you all need to read this book. Because this is something that you guys are very especially my nephew, who's a young Black man in this, he's only 22 in college, getting all of that. Really, he already thirsts for education and he's doing his thing, but this just really taking it to a whole another level and understanding where his position is and what his values, especially our young Black men. I think they're lost and they're in this situation where society looks at them in such a bad manner that it just doesn't allow them to grow, or even ourselves. We as a community also with our young men, we are not. It's just so many things going on that it's where do you start? And this is a great, the book is a great platform to kind of re-educate and kind of say to the young Black man or the young Black girl or any of us that you have control and power of what it is that you're searching for and you're looking for, that no man could ever tell you. And that's what I think we got lost in that aspect where, back in the day in the civil rights movements, and people were actually saying, you can't stop us from doing what we need to do. And somewhere along the lines, things got lost. And I think, it's not about educating yourself. It's just what is the quickest, easiest way for me to make some money and make it out.
Exactly.
And not realizing that in long term, if you educate yourself, in long term, you will always have money. You will always have everything that you need. And in doing so, you could help others.
Absolutely. I was going to add on to that as well. When you're able to actually help yourself, you're then able to share that knowledge and share that experience with other people. And my goal with this one is to empower you to actually do that.
Right.
To empower you to know that you can do that. You can build yourself up, and without anybody else's permission. Without anybody else's permission, you can do it yourself. Absolutely. And then, like I said, go back and then teach other people how to do it as well.
That kind of leads into what we've talked about, like I said, off camera and everything like that. Your side project. Yeah. Can you talk about that Blacklight Project?
Yeah, so that's my logo. That's my publishing company. It's called Blacklight Project Publishing. The logo itself is a blacklight that grows into a tree. So when you look at it,
and I love the cover.
Yeah, the cover is amazing.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. Actually,
what was the motivation on that?
So it was actually very cool. So I really wanted to have the book have the light coming from the book for that enlightening aspect. I want you to understand that you are going to be enlightened by picking up a book. But then I also wanted to have a young Black male on there as well. And in a positive light, because he's actually reading that book. And then also he's in the black hoodie. He's in the black hoodies. And I wanted it on that black background. I wanted you to have that imagery and have it reflect off of him. I wanted you to actually see him thinking. It was all encompassing that. It was an artist that actually took my idea and was able to actually give me a painting. So I actually have the painting at the house, but then we digitized it, and that's the cover. But
awesome.
Yeah, no,
I appreciate it. But on the cover, there's also the logo, like you were saying. Yeah. And what the logo is, and I explained it in the book as well, but the logo, it actually starts with, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Tupac's poem, The Rose That Grew from Concrete.
Gotta be honest, not really.
Yeah. So what it is basically Tupac's appreciation for rose that grew in an unconventional area. It grew in an area that was not meant for it to grow. It grew in that hard environment, and it represented him. He grew in that.
Right.
For me, I believe that the Black community can be like a tree that grows from concrete.
Absolutely.
So when a tree grows from concrete, instead of growing in the cracks of the concrete, the tree can actually dig its roots very deep and actually begin to crack the concrete.
Absolutely.
And actually create areas for more roses to grow.
Education early.
Okay. Well, girl, that's powerful because it's true. If you really look at a tree and you're walking, you see the roots are very much implanted in the concrete. It broke up that concrete, and it's saying I'm bigger, I'm better, and you're not. At the end of the day, how the only way that you ever see that tree, they literally have to cut that tree down and pull it out from the roots. But even still, it's still enrooted in there, and it'll still find a way to grow itself and do whatever. So that's a very powerful statement and logo that you got going on there. So
That's really, really cool.
no,
What has been the response so far with the book? Good, bad? How does that
Overall,
been
it's been good.
Okay.
Overall, the feedback has definitely been good. The people who have actually taken the time to actually check it out have really appreciated it. I've had people from different races check it out. I've had people from different countries actually check it out. Everybody's response is overall positive. And also on the flip side, however, I did get the response that I kind of expected by having the N-word on the title.
Yeah,
of course.
I have people who give me the side eye. I have people who address me, telling me that nobody should use the N-word, not even just, not even Black people. Nobody should use the N-word. And I appreciate everybody's opinion.
Of course.
But at the same time, if you're not even able to look past that, my goal was to actually get your attention with that. I want you to actually take that. I want you to feel a certain type of way when you read that and look at my book cover. And so I kind of expected that other side, but from the people who actually check out the book, it's all been positive feedback.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. You look at it and you're like, damn, I'd be curious. What is he talking about here?
Seriously.
That kind of, that's the respect, like anything that's good or great or anything that you have passion about, you're always going to have people that, are on the flip side or on the negative side of it. So at least you're doing something. Like they always say, if you ain't got haters, you ain't doing nothing right.
Exactly.
True.
Exactly.
True.
If you ain't got somebody hating on you, you're not doing anything right.
Yeah. Big time. Big
Agreed.
time. Yeah. What has been, because I kind of saw we talked about this and looked at your profile and everything on your school life. How was Morehouse College?
So Morehouse was definitely an experience. Growing up in LA, going out to Atlanta was multiple things. It was definitely a enriching experience that you can't get anywhere else. I was there for my freshman year, and then after that, I transferred back to California. But my freshman year, it was just it was an impactful experience in that in itself. Just being able to be in a very historic campus, and just being around just all the enriched tradition and everything. It was awesome.
Nice, awesome. Well, with our show, we like to kind of go into a little fun times. We like to call it tea time. Okay. And I warned you earlier. It won't be too bad, but we just have some quick fire questions for you.
All right.
Just want to find out all about Dennis.
I think I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. You do need a sip? Are you good?
You
want to take a sip? Okay. All right. We usually time it, but I'm not going to time it this time. But all right. First question. Your favorite president, dead or alive?
Obama.
Favorite guilty pleasure?
I'm actually going to admit Netflix. I say I don't like to watch a lot of TV and everything, but Netflix actually wins. Like, yeah.
Okay. All right. Worst habit?
My worst habit.
Got him stomped.
Yo. My worst habit. I want to say procrastination.
Okay.
Just because I do set out tasks, like daily tasks, and sometimes like, yo, I can do that tomorrow, and that's like the worst thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's the worst thing.
No, big time.
Boxers or briefs?
Oh, there she got. All right.
Hey,
Boxers.
Okay, right on. Favorite food?
Favorite food. I'm gonna admit to crab. I love seafood in general, but crab, if like seasoned right or in some gumbo or anything like that, yo, crab.
Perfect.
Okay. Flip flops or slides?
Oh, you gotta tell them. Okay,
I'll tell them off air why
Okay.
I'm asking this question. Flip flops or slides? Like